Hi everybody, just wanted to share a few things that I'm doing at the moment with produce from the garden. I've just made some honey using dandelion flower heads and sugar and lemon juice, and it's turned out quite nicely actually. So you can see in there, it's my first attempt, so it's worked really well actually. It's a nice flavour. I think I might need a few more dandelion heads. I've also just made some bread, some sourdough bread, which does really well here in Llangadog because we seem to have lots and lots of yeast in our atmosphere, because the sourdough starter, which the recipe came very kindly from Barney of BBC Good Food, is bubbling away there. I also have just ordered some plants and some food from Carmarthen Food Bank, who delivered here all the way from Carmarthen. Food's really good quality and the seeds are really decent. And out we go. I'm massively into recycling. I've just picked up this can from our local, outside our local pub, the Goose and Cuckoo, from their skip. And here we have some kale plants. They're actually flowering at the moment. And also I've used old kettles that I've got holes in. I also use the local green waste service, which is enormously helpful. These are dandelion roots, which my daughter picked yesterday along with the dandelion heads, and we're going to give the leaves to a local friend who has lots of guinea pigs and will be needing food at the moment. We also burn all of our waste, well, a lot of it should I say, because we put it in our newly built compost heap, which is all made out of recycled wood, and at the moment it's very healthy. I've just emptied these and put them on my raised beds, so it's been enormous. I've probably saved quite a lot of money doing that. This is my woodland area planted with hellebores from Farmyard Nurseries, which have done really well this year, really well, and have flowered for, well, they've been flowering for nearly a month now. Beautiful tulips. We've got an apple tree very much in leaf at the moment and producing some blossom buds. I planted some artichokes down here the other day, put them into the permanent beds, and the same again for my pear tree. Loads of blossom, so I'm hoping there'll be no frost. Now up we come to my raised beds. I've been experimenting with different edging, and you can see that I've got here a load of old bricks that we used from knocking down one of our old sheds, which work really nicely actually for the strawberries. I've got strawberries and asparagus in here. And then because we have such a lot of rain here in Wales, I decided that wood wasn't necessarily the best. I was having to replace them every couple of years, so I decided to try corrugated metal, and so far they've been absolutely brilliant. I've got leeks from last year still in the beds, and these are onions for later on in the season. I've just refilled my pond. I found a leak in there the other day, so I fixed it and I've refilled it, and we've got some tadpoles in there somewhere. But as you can see, it's an essential part of the garden. my greenhouse, which is rather old but still functions really well. More corrugated iron, broad beans coming on nicely. kale from last year, flowering. I just need to take those flower heads off and eat them. I've got some strawberries here ready to go in. That's one of my jobs today. This is my seed bed, and I have just recently used some extra pieces from the side of flagstones that we had left over from laying a patio to build this bed here. And I've got 3 beds left with no edging on, one of which I'm going to weave with some, I just swing around here. I built a willow structure about 5 years ago now, and as you can see it's really growing really nicely. So I'm going to clip down some of that later on, and I'm going to use that to weave the edge of one of my beds, and hopefully I'm going to use also some breeze blocks, and I just need to think of one other idea for the other bed. I also use recycled wood chips from Tally Wood Yard. I've used an old tin bowl to make a small pond, because that's just as important, to provide small areas of water for the smaller animals. I have a herb bed over here which does really well all the way along this wall, and then I also have a bird area here, so it's really important to have fresh water for your birds, and bird table which is always full of birds, but obviously because I'm here it doesn't, they've all gone off. Recycle as much as possible. Picked up some old logs. I intend to put some mushroom spores into those later on this year. Old pipes for putting plants in. I just recently took up some moss out of the enamel tub here because it was taking over a bit. I'm going to dry that off later. I'm going to put some plants into it and do some hanging plant displays. Old ladder from a bed, raised bed that we had in Layla's bedroom. I've got a wormery, stacks of wood, leftover bits from various things. The wormery does really well. In here I've got some comfrey brewing away. I have my water tub which drains from my studio. This is the last gallery studio. And then I've got my potatoes growing, and I'm using old sacks this year, as well as sacks that I've had hanging around for a few years now, grow bags full of the potatoes. Old plastic cartons that I get from the shop. This is my view out from my garden. My garden, I spend most of my time looking at. Beautiful view of the Black Mountain, looking a bit hazy today actually. And then into my greenhouse, which is a bit shabby at the moment but functions really well. We get a lot of wind here in Wales and it smashes everything. So as you can see, I've got lots of recycled pots and baskets hanging around. I use old cups. I use every bit of plastic that comes in for making mini propagators. Nothing's covered at the moment because I've just come in and taken it all off just to give the plants a little bit of air. I do use plastic pots, but they're plastic pots that I've had for many years and I don't buy any more. What else? Oh, I collect seed. I've got a lot of collected seed. Well, I've bought very few this year actually. It's the first year that I've not bought so many seeds. And we also have a seed swap box outside the house. I've made some shelves out of some old wood and some cord, which was kindly donated by my husband, who is an upholsterer, and also some old wire shelves, which I did the same thing with. What else have we got? Lots of recycled material. I use old bags and sheets and things like that to keep things warm. I'll try and recycle as much as possible. And I think that's probably about it. If you've got any ideas, please share them. It's always interesting to know what people do with their bits and bobs and how they use them in a different way. This actually came from, I don't know whether you can see that because the sun is so strong, a friend of mine, which is a potato planter. I got that as a Christmas present a couple of years ago from Martin Thurlow. We all made presents for one another and it was grand. So I'll leave you with my beetroot, which I planted, I separated and planted yesterday, and my dahlias, which will be going in soon, and then just a final sweep of the garden, which is my world at the moment, especially in this situation. I have got a lot of jobs done as a result of not having to go into work. I mean, just saving 2 hours a day of travelling has made an enormous difference, not only to the amount of time I've got to spend in my garden, but also for my sanity. Okay, I hope you're having a wonderful time gardening at home, and please share some of your tips.